I don't have any.
Parties are working diligently to help identify when and where
the
error may have occurred. Our priority remains transparency
and
well-being of the patient and child involved.
Time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. Here we go. And go. It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Brand new show this week. Lots of great stuff going on. Lots of crazy stuff happening in the real estate world, Myrtle Beach, all kind of crazy stuff. So a lot of cool stuff we'll talk about today. Brand new market numbers in, the final market numbers in from last month. We'll kind of recap that for anybody that missed it. One thing I've been getting a lot of questions about from home sellers lately, just want to kind of help out really, is we'll look at the quote home projects, the highest return on investment, highest ROI for making home improvements in terms of what you get dollar for dollar return. What a lot of people don't realize is you don't get dollar for dollar in most of them. So for example, if I spend $10,000 on XYZ, I don't really get $10,000 return for value. And so that's why it's so important. We like to coach our clients through that and like what gets highest ROI. Some things do help better than others. Typically, you want to do like gingerbread stuff, basic stuff. We do a lot of flips too. So I can kind of help. Number one, I can really advocate for that because I had the same thing happen to me. But also, I can help kind of guide you through that. As a whole report came out nationally. I'm pretty much in agreement with a lot of what they say. I'll give you some tips and tricks and kind of what we do, small stuff that doesn't cost much, that does get you a return. But we'll watch people do whole new bathrooms or different things that don't necessarily get the full value. And so they may add another $15,000 in, let's say a repair or upgrade, and then they want $20,000 in the price. It doesn't always work like that. And so we'll break that down for you in terms of the highest ROI projects, which is really cool. We'll also look at a big story came out recently, which is very true here. We've seen is just why so many home sellers are downsizing right now. And some interesting data came out regarding that. And we're seeing that same thing here. Also seeing that in combination of relocation of people downsizing and relocating down here for retirement. We're doing a lot of that with clients from other areas. And we'll also look at top cities that people are moving out of in 2026 across the country. And a lot of those are moving here for sure. Thankfully, we're not in the ones anywhere near that. We shared on last week's show, we were the number one city in America where people were moving to and not moving out. I think there's 340 plus people move in for every 100 that move out. And so that's great news for us. Big news this week, Trump announced the new head of Federal Reserve that he's basically nominating there. We'll talk about that. Also, our investment fund bought another property this week. It was somebody who their brother passed away, did not want to continue dealing with. They had it for sale, did not sell, came to us, and we made a very, very fair offer on that, helped them out with that, and they're super, super happy. We're closing on the exact closing date they want to. So lots of great stuff with that. In addition, I always want to share too, our team is definitely, we're hiring. We are very, very, very much in a growth mode right now. The spring market is coming. And also we have a lot of pent-up demand. Like we talked about in a previous show, where interest rates came down 22 basis points. Lots of buyers jumped back in. And we talked in the last couple of weeks how so many more buyers have been jumping in. We saw almost $200 million in real estate go under contract the second week of January, which is like unheard of. And so we're looking to grow. We have 5 of the best coaches in the industry, multiple industries, coach our team to help them plug in, create the environment, culture, processes, and really accountability to help people be successful at a high level. We have one guy just did a video on YouTube if you want to check it out, named Scott. He just came down from Maryland. He was in the business for 7 years up there. Very, very sharp guy. Saw our stuff online on YouTube. And he came in the first 30 days, he signed 20 clients and 2 properties under contract. And so that was the ability to play. And you think about it, the average agent sells less than 4 homes per year in MLS. And so he's got 20 clients in the first 30 days of that, 10 to 15 will transact in the next couple of months. And so we have lots and lots of structure, assistance, support. And so anybody out there thinking about getting into real estate, or if you're listening or watching online and you work in a different company, not getting the support you need, we're here because we have lots and lots of clients, lots and lots of structure, great energy, And you can reach out to me. Also, if you're thinking about getting real estate, we have an amazing scholarship we offer at sloanscholarship.com. But the whole goal here is the same thing we do on this show for I think 16 years now, is at least 15 years, is basically just helping you keep updated with anything and everything real estate related. So if you ever want to come back and watch any of these shows, go to YouTube, just type in Blake Sloan Radio Show. You can Google Blake Sloan Radio Show. I just did it a minute ago, it popped right up. I stream it live on YouTube. You can follow me at Blake Sloan, you can follow Sloan Realty Group, but make sure to stay tuned. Lots and lots of great stuff on today's show.
For any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor Magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. One of those by itself is an accomplishment, but all of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly and a quick overview of how they work, Blake.
Yes, Rick. And again, this is why I do the show. I talk this all the time, and it's like, anybody listens a lot. I say it every week, but I made a promise I would not stop doing it until I don't deal with it. We had 2 instances this week alone, and I'll share the instance. I'll share one of the instances with you. And it's just so crazy how people they look at real estate from the wrong frame of mind, right? They look at it differently. And I'll tell you, the worst ones are the ones who are the high end. If you watch anything like 3 million, 4 million plus, they only list with like the housewife of their friend, and basically just leave so much on the table, thinking that the person has to like live in that certain neighborhood, that certain area, and they create a big fish in a very small pond, right? Where they don't have a very big fish in a giant ocean. And that's kind of what you want when you're talking about something that's super high end, because you want somebody who has national, international exposure. For example, like the worst ones, I hate to say it, are people like in Pawleys Island. Like, if you don't live in Pawleys Island, you can't sell in Pawleys Island, which is crazy, because what you don't realize is like a lot of the high end people from New York, New Jersey, from Manhattan, they don't necessarily know about Litchfield. They just look at Myrtle Beach, and what happens is they start looking for something a little more laid back, a little more higher end, a little more their speed, what they're looking for. And guess what? Then somebody from Myrtle Beach, hey, look, why don't you check this area out? And that's where we're able to come from. But for example, here's the deal. People make this massive mistake of thinking they're all real estate agents the same, and it could not be any further from the truth. Just like any doctor, any lawyer, right? And I shared the story last week about my children, the 2 children, 3.5, 1.5, and they got very, very sick all of a sudden. And we took them to doctor's care, well, not quote doctor's care, but, a doc in the box type place. And the lady there looked at them and said, oh, they got an ear infection. And sure enough, they gave them some antibiotic and nothing happened. And so like a week later, I'm like, man, something's not right. This is getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And so I put all the symptoms in ChatGPT. All of a sudden it says, boom, this is what it is. And you need to go to a pediatrician immediately. So we did that, went to pediatrician. He's like, oh, heck no, they definitely don't have an ear infection. They got XYZ, which is super serious, super bad. And the medicine you've been having doesn't even treat that. And this goes back to like people make the mistake with like realtors all the time. And so it all comes down to the human and how well that human executes that you have, right? And so what people don't realize, when you're selling a property, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. Each one's handled correctly, it puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. Anything's handled incorrectly, aka the agent does something wrong, misdiagnosed, right? Mishandles the details. It costs you your hard-earned equity. The property does not get sold. And so in this business, right, it's simply almost impossible for one single person to do 118 variables on one listing, much less 5 or 10. And so that's why you see almost a 50% failure rate of listings. If you think about it, most MLS listings, right, it's even worse than condos, but if there's 10 properties listed, 5 of them sell, 5 don't sell. And so that's shocking for a lot of people to realize. And so what they realize is just the average agent sells less than 4 homes per year. And so if you think about that, there's not a whole lot of experience in what's happening with the nuances and details of that. And also there's not hardly any money to market with, because if I'm selling 1 home per quarter, there's not any money to market with. And so they're just trying to pay rent. And what you find out happens is that person throws you on the bus in 2 seconds, because they're trying to get the deal done, because they're trying to put food on the table to feed their children. And I see it happen every single week. And just like a doctor, just like a lawyer, right? If you have a crime that you did not commit and you're charged with it, or if somebody is suing you after a car wreck for everything that you own, the last thing I'm ever going to do is go with the cheapest attorney. The last thing I'm ever going to do is go with a part-time attorney, right? I want the absolute best, most aggressive attorney who specializes in that type of law, who can give me that competitive advantage. And here's the deal. I'm not going to go with the cheapest. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go with the most expensive, but I want the most value. And what that means is people tend to ask the wrong questions. I mean, a person this week in the office who the property didn't sell. They were buying something else. They're super frustrated. They went with an agent. So how'd you pick your agent? Well, I got this postcard for this discount agent. There's like 3.5% for everything. Like, cool, how'd that work out for you? Not very good. Didn't call back, didn't get things done, didn't get results. And the person was like, in IT. I was like, hey, well, let me ask you this, you're in IT, right? So if you went with the absolute cheapest person in IT, which is a super important role for cybersecurity in your company, what do you think is going to happen? And they're going to basically get destroyed. People are going to hack in your stuff. It doesn't work. It's the same exact thing, right? And so that happens in anything. And I asked the question of, let me ask you this, what industry, if you pick by the absolute cheapest, are you ever going to get a good outcome? Never, right? Like I said up before, it doesn't matter if you're getting battery for your toys, for your kids, right? It doesn't matter if you're getting a Mercedes Benz. If I want the cheapest Mercedes Benz in Myrtle Beach, I'm definitely going to get a lemon. That's not going to be a good outcome for me, right? The question you want to have, or the idea you want to have, is get the absolute best value. And that means you have to ask a different question. So for example, for realtors, hey, what do you do that makes you different? What are you going to do to make my property stand out? What are you going to do to market and advertise my property? What's your experience in this type of properties? What are you going to do that's different than anyone else? And then at that point, once you have the right data, then you can make a decision based on price in terms of what they charge or what they're saying the property's worth. And that's another big mistake people make too, is they think that realtors pick their price. And the fact is, realtors don't pick the price. From what we do is we pick price from a consultative standpoint. We advise the client based on the data. They pick the actual price, but the most important decision they're going to make is the actual agent you choose. And so what I realized, that the business was broken, got in the business January 2005, and realized very, very quickly that the business model was broken. And so the old school model, you have one single agent who's working, juggling all the balls, buyers, sellers, doing their marketing, their administrative tax, their contracted close, everything. And so it's like having the same person, McDonald's or Burger King, do their front register, the drive-thru, and French fries at the same time. Very, very inefficient, which is why there's 50% failure rate. So what I did, I flipped the model upside down and create a team of people where we have what we call a team of specialists. Each person specializes in what they do so they can execute that task at the highest level. And we also backed it up by technology, so each person knows what to do, when to do it, and you can hold them accountable to that process. And so I designed this thing called the Guaranteed Sold System, the only proven system sells twice as fast and for up to 21% more money than traditional methods, and it works very, very, very well. For buyers out there, it's a different process at the opposite side of the transaction, but very, very difficult. We designed this thing called the Unfair Advantage Home Buying System. Priority access to foreclosures, distress sales, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price using data, and the absolute best negotiation, the home inspection, to get you that closing table successfully and also represent your interest for life, right? That's our goal. What we do with that. And what it does is it gives our clients a massive competitive advantage. What we do is we manage the small details, the 118 different variables, and create a small gap at each one. So it doesn't make a big difference at point 1, at point 2, at point 3, but you add all those up, it creates a massive gap between us and everyone else. And that's how we sell properties faster and for more money. And so if you want to know more how it works, I created an amazing documentary. It's very, very detailed. We had somebody last week just go online, watch it, call us and say, this is amazing. And if you're just thinking about it, you're not even ready to sell yet, or you're just curious about what questions do I ask agents, I share all of the behind the curtains kind of drama and everything about the industry in that video. It's at blakesloan.com. You can watch it on your phone, watch your computer. It's there for you, trade on YouTube. But any other questions, reach out, give me a call, 843-808-SOLD or blakesloan.com anytime. Take a quick break, right back here in a second.
There are issues that directly impact your family's future. Hey, your friend Sean Hannity here, and the same is true for your real estate transactions. Now, when you sell your home, you need to speak to one of the agents right here in town that will get you the most money with the least hassle. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, knowing the facts when you vote and when you sell your home is always important. That's why you should check out the value of your home in today's market. When you know the accurate value, you are better equipped to make an informed decision with all the options laid out for you. Options like an instant offer, or lay out your timeline and take advantage of their guaranteed sale program, or just put it on the market and get more money than you expected. Just go to the website, find out your home's value in seconds. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at blakesloan.com. That's blakesloan.com. And get your home's real value in today's market in just seconds, and then you can start packing.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbett. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sales, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers in a time crunch, you can agree to sell it by a certain date, pay cash for your home, or even renovate it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time,
Use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome to Blake Sloan Radio Show. Brand new market update. All kind of interesting stuff happening in terms of market pace and closings. Talk about that. And so obviously we had kind of quite run this month where it's been all over the place. Rates high, rates low. We had a 22 basis point drop in one day. Bounce back around after that, but rock and roll in terms of properties under contract. And so one of the biggest Januaries I've seen in years since I've been tracking this. Overall, we track two numbers here, right? Track the front windshield numbers. That's what's going to close in the future. It's what went under contract the previous 7 days. That's how you create the pulse, right? That's how I look at what's really happening in real time, so I can advise my clients on how aggressive we want to be in pricing or even strategy. Same thing for buyers out there. Let's say that the new properties under contract is up 25% week over week, like it was on last week's show. That means I'm probably going to be a little more aggressive in my pricing, right? If I'm making an offer on a buyer also for a seller, right? And so you want to keep track of that number. We keep track of it every single week, but it's still rock and rolling. It's down just a little bit from last week, but not too much. Last week's show is 495 properties under contract. This last 7 days, 473 properties under contract. And again, there was some fear last week. Remember, with the quote ice storm that didn't really happen. So some people were scared about that, but some monster big properties under contract overall right now, 198 million. $110,796 in the last 7 days, which is huge. So lots of big properties, $4.7 million in Myrtle Beach on the ocean, Golden Mile, 3.79 million under contract, 3.499 million under contract, 2.995 million under contract in the last 7 days, 5 over $2 million, 16 properties over $1 million, and 85 properties over $500,000. And so just wild stuff. And so I've been looking at some of these, the transactions of like, okay, where are these people from? What's happening? I've seen a lot of DC money come in lately, a lot of that government contractor money coming in. One was defense contractor I was just looking at this morning overall. But bottom line is lots of stuff coming in from out of area, which is great for high-end sellers. You're seeing the high-end market is still absolutely on fire. A lot of people relocating from up north. You're seeing that kind of across the board in general, just kind of looking at those. And if you look at just one thing that's really kind of driving that, we talked about interest rates really quick. Last week's show, 6.19, today's show, 6.19. They bounce around all week kind of in those places, up and down, 6.21, 6.18. Right now, 6.19 for a 30-year fix, 15-year fix, 5.76%. So in the fives, which is great. Some even smaller banks we've seen in credit unions have been low fives, which is awesome. 30-year jumbo, 6.38%. A 30-year FHA loan right now, 5.86%. And a 30-year VA loan is 5.88%, which is awesome. And so really quick, looking at the full month numbers in from last month, which is great. Next week's show, we'll have the full January numbers in once they're finalized, and we'll have that on next week's show. Right now, we're at the very end of January, so we'll get that obviously once it gets into February, fully to get the information. So last month's numbers, sales in December for single family resale homes up 23%, huge jump. So 23% jump year over year, which is awesome. And that's how rates already come down a little bit. We were comparing some of the stuff year versus year, like they were up near 7% before. Now they're low sixes, which is great. Sales price up 6.6% for median price last month, which is awesome at $405,000. Average sale price right now hit a new all-time record. It's the craziest thing. If you look at the graph, it just goes straight up, but up 9.2% year over year. New record here on the Grand Strand for December, new record of all time, but it actually happened in December, $557,025, which is crazy. So if you look at the average sale price in January 2022, $400,000. Right now, $557,000. That's a huge jump just since 2022. Now, some of that is nuance. Again, we've seen this crazy phenomenon. I was talking with a couple of high-end builders recently. They're like creating their own comps. They just will sell a $5 million house and just make up a new price. And guess what? Some rich person comes from up north and just buys it. It's just wild. So you're seeing a lot of high-end stuff move like crazy. And that's quote exactly what they told me. It's like, we just start making our own comps, just make it up. And people still come and buy it. And again, those are very unique properties, very high-end properties, typically on the waterway or on the ocean. But that's what you're seeing there. Months of supply is actually down, which is great news for sellers. It's down significantly. So right now it's only 4.4 months of inventory, which means it's a true seller's market. Still takes a little bit longer, days on market, but it's still a seller's market. Inventory peaked out in June of last year at 5.5 months. Right now it's down 4.4 months, which is great. The days on market right now for average days on market is 108 days, which is down from where it was at not that long ago, about 110, 111. So right now it's at 108. Which is great news. The big challenge that everyone's looking at is just buyer traffic, right? You have to have differentiation. There's a lot of competition for the amount of buyers still, where the average showing per listing the entire time it's listed, which is usually 6 months, is 2.4 showings. So how many does it take to get a contract? 12.4. So you can see it needs 5.5 times more showings than the average listing gets. And that's why most properties don't sell. And that's why you can't just go with an average agent who sells 4 homes a year. You need somebody who can differentiate. You need somebody with professional photography. You need somebody who can drive traffic and phone calls to it, which makes a massive difference. And so that's overall single families. Looking at condos. Condo sales actually recovered a little bit better, which is great, up 3.7% this December versus last December, which is great news. Median sale price for resale condos down 9.1% last month at $220,000. Average sale price down 10.6%, which is significant drop month versus month at $254. So for example, November, the overall average price was $293. December, $254. So a $40,000 drop there just in 1 month. And so again, that's also nuanced. It depends if you're a condo tail in the ocean or a condo or townhouse a little more inland. It does make a big difference there overall. If you look at days on market for condos, right now 125 days it takes on average to sell a condo of the ones that do sell. We pull the number in December, only about 38% of condos were selling. It's gone up just a little bit, but the ones that do sell, 125 days on market. Showings per listing right now, the average condo only gets 1.4 showings the entire time it's listed. So think about that. If you go to the average agent, statistically, you do a 6-month agreement, you get 1.4 showings the entire time. The rest of the time, it just sits there. And so that's why the decision you make is so important in terms of the agent you choose. How many showings does it take on average to get an actual contract? 8.4. And so how do we know these numbers? Well, there's the MLS has a service you use to book all the showings. And so it knows when the property's active and then when it goes pending, and it creates an average based on how many each property gets until it goes pending. So it's very accurate because all the showings have to be booked through that service in most cases. So if you want to know anything else in detail, specifically about your property, have this amazing service. And we spend about $3,500 a month on it right now. It's based on users, but it gives you this amazing like stock ticker. There's no like stock ticker for homes, right? It'd be nice if HGTV had like a stock ticker at the bottom, but for right now, you can pull the value of any property you own anywhere in the country using our service. And here's the coolest part. It's unbiased. I don't control it. Every once in a while, I get people who write back like, what'd you do with my value? Like, I have no control over the value. It pulls from the 3 major data sources that all the major Fortune 500 companies use. In addition, it shows you real-time Zillow valuation based on the algorithms of all the 3 major companies, by far the biggest and best. And it creates an average of that. You can see all the comparables, all the actual home value, real-time equity based on your loan balance of any property you have anywhere in the country. I offer it as a free service for everyone. You just go to blakesloan.com, enter your address. There'll be some email updates if you want. You can choose like a monthly update, bi-monthly, whatever you want. We're not going to hassle you. We're here to give service, to give you value. We know in the long term it comes back to us, but you can also do a 1-click and we'll do a human valuation for you. For example, the guy who wrote back about that, I looked at him like, dude, there's a bunch of new construction. The county doesn't even have your data right in here, but we can correct that for you, get you the updated value in 2 seconds, and you're super happy with that. So always check that out anytime you want. blakesloan.com, free home value. Or if you have any questions, we're here to answer them for you. 843-808-SOLD. Quick break right back here in a second.
WRNN listeners, Clay Travis.
How am I looking on time?
Investors in real estate, Buck and I both know
Are we looking on time?
what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach,
Okay.
that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 five-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing that Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Hey Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaVox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts. When I'm Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord with folks who understand the challenges that come with life's big changes. For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. Start packing.
Welcome back, Blake Sloan radio show. Hot buyers, my team and I work with a ridiculous amount of home buyers looking at properties here on the Myrtle Beach, Grand Strand area, anywhere from $250,000 to $4.4 million. If you're thinking about selling, please call us immediately, 843-808-SOLD. It's 843-808-SOLD. One thing we've been doing here for a long, long time is just amazing idea. So many agents just talk about what they do, and their business model typically is that they list a property with you, they put a sign on the ground, and then they hope that some buyers come. With us, we have this thing called buyers in waiting. How is that? We spend $100,000 plus a month in marketing every single month for a very, very long time now, generating buyers from all across the globe. And we have buyers who are particularly looking for something just like what you have, that we're able to match up buyers and sellers very quickly. And so right now, active home buyers on our website, 82,146 active home buyers. Again, 82,146 active home buyers from all over the globe. Right now, I got Sonia. She's right here in Myrtle Beach. I got Wayne Johnson. Shout out to Wayne. He's here in Myrtle Beach looking on the site right this second. I got Colleen from Cary, North Carolina. Here you go. Debbie Platter from San Francisco, California. I got David Alexander from, David McAllister from Vandergrift, PA. I got Baltimore, Maryland, North Grove, something here. Falls Church, Virginia. Taylor, South Carolina. Greenville, Tennessee. Morgantown, North Carolina. Homestead, Florida. Woodbridge, Virginia. All over the place, right? You can see Elk Grove, California. And so these are real-time buyers searching for a property just like yours. And we have a system, an algorithm that takes any new listing, especially yours, and we basically put them in there and reverse engineers the most likely buyer for your property based on their previous search patterns. It's a technology, an AI. And then our team calls it. Our team makes 10,000 phone calls a week, right? It's simply impossible for a single agent, right? Your friend of the friend who you're referred to, who does, table waiting part-time. It's impossible for them to make that type of leverage for you. And so with us making 10,000 phone calls a week, match up buyer and seller. Why is that? Because that's what I'm hired to do, is actually sell the property, not just put it in MLS. And guess what? I'm in business to make money. And if I make both sides of the commission, it's more profitable for us. So it's a win-win for both. And so what that means is anytime you call us, I already have buyers potentially in waiting that would be looking for a property just like yours, which allows us to sell them faster. And that's the advantage of our business model, which is very, very helpful. We designed it that way, and it creates a lot more leverage for our clients because I can outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint because of how efficient the back-end system is. So if you want to know how it works, reach out, call us. Also in that documentary on blakesloan.com, we break all that down for you, the difference. Really quick, awesome success stories. John recently purchased a house, a really nice house on 6 acres in Loris. He needed to sell his very nice home in Myrtle Beach. Since he had already moved out, he met a few realtors, but did not feel confident they'd get him the price they wanted in a timely manner. So he met a few investors, realized that they were just offering pennies on the dollar. Thankfully, a good friend recommended John to us at Sloan Realty Group, gave us a call. We met with John, shared with him how we had hundreds of buyers looking at properties just like his, how we get it sold quickly for top dollar. I designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, virtual reality walkthrough, drove massive traffic. And there's a couple weeks, had a fantastic offer on his property. He was blown away. Now he no longer has to worry about paying 2 mortgages and is super, super happy. Also, Brian and Sheila had a unique property, very unique, historic property in Conway. Already moved out of their home. Listed with another agent over 6 months, no action. After 6 months of trying to sell a property, they explored other options. They were referred to us by a radio listener, which is awesome. And the cool part is we came in, designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, and really cool one with it being a historic home. Drove massive traffic, had it under contract just a couple weeks. Just passed home inspection with that, which is awesome. And so now they're super, super happy. If you want to be that next success story, doesn't matter if it's a unique home or a high-end home or a regular home or a mid-price home, we can get it sold. I always joke and say, look, I can sell a shoebox if you need me to. I have the buyers for it. Just reach out, call us, 843-808 sold overall. How long we got left? 30 seconds? 15 seconds. Awesome. We're here to serve you all weekend. Been serving this store a long time. Any real estate question you got, you call us today. We're in the office grinding. We're here all day, all week. Give us a call, 843-808 sold. We'll see you at the same time next week.